This presentation is designed with a two-part interactive learning methodology. First, you'll see the question and all possible answers. Then, we'll walk through a systematic elimination process to arrive at the correct answer. Here's what makes this approach effective for exam preparation. When we reach the question slide, I want you to take your time to read and understand both the question and all the answer options. You'll have an additional 30 seconds to make your selection. This is crucial. Do not proceed to the explanation slides until you have made an attempt to answer. Even if you are not sure, select an answer anyway. This active participation simulates the actual exam experience and significantly improves retention. Research shows that when you actively engage with the material by attempting to answer, you remember the content much better than if the answer is simply revealed to you. So embrace the challenge, make your best guess, and let's learn together. The question asks, a company wants to record API calls that are made to Amazon Bedrock in log files. For compliance purposes, the company wants these logs to include the API call, the user who made the call, and the time that the call was made. Let me read through the answer options. Option A, Amazon Inspector. Option B, Amazon CloudWatch. Option C, AWS Trusted Advisor. Option D, AWS CloudTrail. Take your time to analyze each option carefully. Consider what you know about API logging and monitoring services in AWS. Think about which service specifically tracks API calls, user information, and timestamps. Remember, you have 30 seconds to make your selection before we proceed to the explanation. Now let's examine the key terms in this question that will help guide our analysis. Notice how I've highlighted the critical terms: record API calls, Amazon Bedrock, log files, and API call, the user who made the call and the time in yellow. These terms are essential to understanding what service we need for comprehensive API monitoring and logging. The question is specifically asking for a service that can capture three key pieces of information: the API call itself, the identity of the user making the call, and the timestamp of when the call occurred. This is a classic use case for audit logging and compliance tracking. Now, let's begin our systematic elimination. Looking at option A, Amazon Inspector, this is actually incorrect. Amazon Inspector checks AWS resources for security exposures and vulnerabilities in configurations. Some examples of resources that Amazon Inspector checks include Amazon EC2 instances, Amazon Elastic Container Registry, and AWS Lambda. Amazon Inspector does not monitor API calls to Amazon Bedrock. Let's continue with our elimination process. Looking at option B, Amazon CloudWatch, this is also incorrect. You can use CloudWatch to gather and view metrics that relate to account resources. You can use CloudWatch to view the number of API calls to Amazon Bedrock. However, CloudWatch does not provide a mechanism to examine which user made the API call. Let's examine option C, AWS Trusted Advisor. This is also incorrect. Trusted Advisor provides information on how to optimize account environments for cost and performance while maintaining high security standards. Trusted Advisor does not monitor API calls to Amazon Bedrock. This leaves us with the option D, AWS CloudTrail. This is the correct answer. You can use CloudTrail to monitor and log API calls in AWS accounts. CloudTrail records contain the API event, the user who made the API call, and the time that the call was made. Excellent. We've successfully identified the correct answer, D, AWS CloudTrail. AWS CloudTrail is the perfect service for this compliance requirement because it provides comprehensive API logging that includes all three required elements: the API call details, user identity information, and precise timestamps. This makes it ideal for audit trails and compliance reporting. CloudTrail automatically captures API calls made to AWS services, including Amazon Bedrock, and stores this information in log files that can be used for security analysis, compliance auditing, and operational troubleshooting. This is exactly what the company needs to meet their compliance requirements. Great job working through this systematic elimination process. This approach helps you understand not just the right answer, but why the other options don't meet the specific requirements